just, everyone, I hope and believe you guys all have your Bibles. Let's see everyone's Bibles. Okay, good. Because we're all going to be turning to the pages, right? And opening up our Bibles, right? Good job, Jadu. All right, so can we all turn, this is a very well-known verse, Ephesians chapter 6, verse 1. So we're going to wait till everyone gets there, and then I'll get someone to read, or someone can read. Everyone got it? Yes? Yes? All right, can I get someone to read that verse for me?
Obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right.
Good. So, as you guys can figure out, my message will be on obedience for the ones taking notes, or everyone taking notes, right? So the verse reads, "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right." This is something that everyone, including myself, struggle with at times, right? It's obviously obedience, right? Your parents tell you one thing and you want to do the exact opposite extreme of what they're telling you, right? They tell you not to do something, and whatever they tell you not to do, that's the thing you want to do, right? And then you get annoyed and irritated whenever they come and talk to you. So they just want to, come in and talk to you, have a casual conversation. Be like, "How was your day today? What did you do? Blah, blah." And you're like, "Get out of the room. Like, leave me alone," right? You don't want to talk to them. Okay. So you get upset when they come to your room to have a normal or casual conversation with you. So there are times when obeying your parents can be a really tough thing to do. We think that our decision or our choice, whatever we make, is right, and that's the only way. It's like your way or no way, right? And you would not want to take any advice that your parents are willing to give you. They might, want to come and tell you something, or like, "Nope, I already made up my mind. I made my decision. That's it. I don't need to hear anything from you." Or you want to be independent and you want to start making your own decisions, right? So can I get someone else, or not someone else, everyone, turn to Proverbs chapter 1. I'll wait for everyone to turn their Bibles. And then we're gonna read from verse 7 to 8. Everyone got the verse? Yes? And can I get someone to read verse 7 to 9? Sorry, did I say 8? 7 to 9.
"The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Listen, my son, to your father's instruction, and do not forsake your mother's teachings. They are a garland to grace your head and a chain to adorn your neck."
So in this verse, we can see that God tells us to listen to our father's instructions and do not forsake your mother's teachings. So your parents can be your greatest guides in your lives, right? They can lead you in the path that God has for you, but only if you would listen to what they have to say and if you let them, right? So if you don't want to listen to them, or if you don't let them guide you, then they can't really do anything, right? So if you don't want to listen to what they have to tell you, then they will not be able to guide you, like I said. So there aren't any parents out there that will want something bad to happen to their child or children, right? Or they would want to guide their child in the wrong path. All parents would want good things to happen to their children. So your parents care about you and love you from the time that you were conceived. Your father and mother will not give you the wrong instructions or teach you the wrong things, right? Because they care about you and they want good for their children, and they want you guys to walk in God's way and always walk in God's path and lead you right. So also, just as we are to obey our parents, we are also to obey our Father in heaven. So if we're struggling here to obey our earthly parents, how are we able to obey our Heavenly Father, right? So as we learn to obey, we learn to be wise in making our decisions in life. We learn to open up our eyes and ears to God's plans for us. And obedience is the first step in living a Christian life. It helps give us strength in our faith and the ability to overcome temptations that can lead us astray. Like I mentioned in the beginning, obeying your parents is not an easy thing to do, especially with the generation gap that we have. It feels like our parents are like from a whole different other world and we're on a different world, right? So yes, their generation is very different from our generation, and at times we may not always understand their reasoning. However, we don't always understand God's either, right? But then at the same time, we know that what God does or has for us, it's for our own good. We don't doubt God and think that, oh, is he doing good to us? Is this a good plan that God has for us? We don't doubt him, right? So like that, we shouldn't really be doubting our parents either. So we need to realize and understand that there will be times when obedience does become so difficult, yet obedience does take time. It's not something that happens overnight or you can, work out overnight. It is a process and it does take some time. So I'm going to be talking about 7 tips or 7 things for obeying our parents. I may ask you what these 7 things are in the end, so make sure you guys are listening. So the first thing is listen. Yes, it's hard to obey your parents when you don't actually hear what they're telling you, right? When you have something that you need to talk about, your parents are always there for you and willing to listen and help you out. So in the same way, you should not ignore your parents when they have something to tell you, right? It has to be a two-way thing. The second thing is show respect. There's nothing frustrating as frustrating when a parent is talking to you and you sit there rolling your eyes at them. I have also been there and did that to my mother when I was in my teenage years, or even sometimes now. But there were times when I didn't agree with things that my mother had to say, and you may not also agree with some of the things that your parents tell you. But obeying your parents begins with showing them respect. And if you don't agree on something that your parents tell you, it's totally fine to ask them questions to clarify things, but you shouldn't ask in a rude manner, right? Disrespect will put a wall between you and your parents. So and then you're gonna have to break that wall down and then start the whole thing all over again. So make sure you show them respect. And the third thing is have patience. It's easy to talk back to your parents when you disagree with them. And it's also easy to hold a grudge against them when they are wrong. Your parents are also humans just like you. How many times have you made a mistake? Is there anyone here that can say that they are perfect? Anyone? Jada? Okay. So just like that, our parents can also make mistakes at times, just like how you can make mistakes. We're all humans, right? No one's perfect here. The fourth thing is communicate. So this is an important factor to having a good relationship with our parents. When you talk to them and communicate with them about what's going on in your life, you will find that they will accept that you are becoming a responsible adult. Ask them for advice and talk to them, right? Communication is a big key thing pretty much in all relationships, right? So teenagers usually want to have privacy, and having some privacy is understandable, but also know that when you don't communicate, it raises suspicion for your parents, right? A great way to obey your parents is to talk to them about things, so that way you can also build trust, and your parents can trust you and not suspect you, right? The fifth thing would be spending time together. So many teens nowadays don't really like it when it comes to spending time with their parents, just because they don't feel that their parents understand them very well. The whole generation gap, right? So while you don't have to spend all your time with your parents, spending at least just some time with them allows you to get to know one another better, right? So, I mean, you have 24 hours in a day. Out of that time, how many times do you spend it out with your friends, with watching a movie, doing, I don't know, whatever on your own, right? So at least from that, just giving some time to your parents and spending some time with your parents, it will make them happy too, right? And the sixth thing would be show that you care. So showing affection is not an easy thing for every family. Some people grow up in households where everyone is hugging and kissing or telling each other I love you, while others are not. However, you can show that you care about your mom and your dad in your very own way, and by at least being polite, caring, and thoughtful, right? You don't have to, not everyone is all about the hugging and kissing thing in the family, but at least just being polite to them, that itself shows that, oh, my child cares about me, kind of thing, right? And then the seventh point would be take your disappointments elsewhere. So getting frustrated with your parents is normal. One of the greatest outlets as we Christians have is prayer. So you may think that your parents are never listening to you, but remember that God is always listening to you no matter what situation you are in. So whatever your situation that you may be in, remember God is always there for you 24/7, right? You don't need to book a time with Him or book an appointment with Him. Whenever you feel that you just need to cry out, just kneel down in prayer, and God will always be there listening to you, right? And if you think that your relationship with your parents are not going anywhere or getting any better, pray for a better relationship with them or for God to place an understanding on their hearts, right? So these are the 7 tips or things for obeying a parent. There are many more, but these are just some of the things. So if we can turn to Colossians chapter 3. Wait for everyone to turn. Don't worry guys, my messages are not that long, so bear with me. Is everyone there? Chapter 3? And can I get someone to read verse 20?
Children, obey your parents in everything, for this pleases the Lord.
So as you can see in this verse, when you respect your parents and obey them, God is pleased with it. And God doesn't say to obey them in some things and not others, or for you to pick and choose what you like and what you don't like, but He says to obey your parents in everything, right? So, a little story. So when I was pregnant with Ethan, that's when I started to think and realize how much a mother has to go through to bring a child into this world. I mean, all of you guys, your mothers, right, went through some sort of pain or, I don't know, something throughout pregnancy to bring you into this world, right? I started thinking, a mother's body changes, physically they change, emotionally they go through things, right? It's not an easy thing, right? For some mothers, pregnancy is an easy peasy thing, but for others, it is a struggle from the beginning all throughout until the baby comes out, right? So that's when I was realizing, a mother goes through all this to bring you into this world, and then how would she feel when you grow up and, yes, there is the teenage roller coaster that most or all kids go through, but then at the same time, how would she feel when, you grow up and then you're talking back to them, you are disrespecting them, right? And you're not obeying them, right? So it is a very hurtful thing that she gets hurt about, right? So that's when I was thinking, and I was the mothers go through, a huge thing in life, right? And they want good things for their kids. They want their kids to grow up to be in God, to walk in God's way, to have a good relationship with them, right? And then the kids just turn around once they hit their teenage roller coaster years, and they start to go their own way, they do their own things and all, and that's quite hurtful, right? So that's even like if as you're growing up, whatever it is, make sure you guys do not respect or disrespect your mothers or your parents. And make sure that even though whatever age you guys may be at, like young, teenage, getting married, already married, whatever it is, do not forget about your mothers, I guess, right? Even like with me with Dinesh, like even though we're married, he's married, he has a wife, he has a child now, I always tell him whatever it is, do not hurt your mother in any way, right? There may be things, like verbally, there may be things that mothers might say that we may get frustrated with, we may not like, but whatever it is, communicate with them so that they know what's going on in your head and you know what's going on in their head, right? Lack of communication can bring really unwanted things, right? And then you'll be holding a grudge against them and they don't know why you're upset, you don't know why they're upset at you. But yeah, make sure you communicate with them and respect your mothers and love your parents. All right, and if we can go back to Ephesians chapter 6, verse 1. One more time. Everyone got it? Okay, can I get someone to read?
Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right.
So remember, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. So remember, what do you have to do? Obey your parents. Good job. So what are the 7 things that I just said? Abby? Oh. Yeah? Sorry? Yeah? Second thing? Show respect. Third? Okay, why aren't the guys talking? It's all the girls. Okay, 4, the boys. Communicate. 5. 6. And 7. Good. So remember, guys, whatever it is and everything, obey your parents. Do not hurt them and love them. That's it.